I feel very blessed that with Carduna it was a takeoff, and now there's the end landing. There's just staying up there. The learning today, two people I want to live. One is Leilui Nishmat Michael Ben Daniel. That was Michelle. Those of you that knew Michelle, Dov was very close to, from Yekev Amos, the winery in Tkoa. He's a friend of mine as well, and he used to we used to perform. Bless you. Used to perform in his place there, and that was very, very special. And he passed away yesterday. I think I saw him the last time at Boker Tov Achi. I think I saw him the last time on the farm on his birthday. Remember? He was there. You weren't there. Anyway, so that, and also my dear friend Elion and Leila Shemesh had a baby boy, and 32nd week, the kids in the Pagia, and his name is Gavriel. You have the name already? Gavriel Ben, I don't know her full name, probably Leah. So it's a very, very important thing to daven for. It's also what a schut that my sister is a nurse in the Pagia. Like, I have these friends that are in the most, like, nerve-wracking times of their life, and my sister is always there with them in their moments. So anyway, it's very, very special, and it's very beautiful. Here, give me put the towel so we can fill them up. Okay. You just put it on here. You got another chair there? We're good. Come. That's not your spot? Huh?
Okay, good.
Oh.
Okay.
And by you.
Nobody should have
All good. Okay. I was thinking about this since we began this last time. There's two ways to learn this chomer. And I don't know yet, I don't know yet the best way that we're going to plug into this. It seems to me, do you have it? Do you have a copy? Oh, I have to make more. I'll make more for next week.
Is that it?
No, I don't think so. There's two ways to learn this. And Be'emet, I don't know what the best is. I would love for you guys to tell me what you think works best for you. I'm not into... Here, we got a Upshurn boy. We have I said today, I heard a cough. Shachas, I heard a cough. I didn't see the person, but I heard a cough. Okay. Go. Okay, so what are the two ways of learning this? And this really, I want the dibur of the Chaverim to be. We know that there's an erech to Talmud Torah. Every letter of Torah we learn is filled with I hate the word value. It's filled with chiyus, it's filled with connecting to Ratzon Hashem, like the Alter Rebbe explains to us, that the Torah is Hashem telling us, this is what I want. However, what we get stuck with quite often with the learning that we do is that we come to a shir to hear about a lot of nice things. And it's beautiful. And there's a huge value to that as well. But I know that what we want is to actually take whatever the stuff we're choosing to learn is not to know what did Rabbi Shwartz say. In this case, Rabbi Itamar Shwartz. That's not what's going to do it for us. Oh, what did Rabbi Shwartz say? What did Rabbi Shapiro say? Right? What did Rabbi Schechter have to say? And especially with this stuff, it's not like, oh, he says that you do Tikkun Hamidot like this. We want more than that. The way to learn this stuff is by discussing it. It's even by taking a paper and pen and actually doing it mamash as if our kids are going back. Did any of you do supplies shopping yet? No? Yeah, so remember that feeling when we did it? When we were, the only exciting day of the year was like that day before September 1st when we had our new kalmar, our new eraser, our new davdevet. But this is like Kita Aleph again. We're going back to basics because he's saying to us Tikkun Hamidot. When we learned the Bilvavi Mishkan Evne with him, the first 5 shiurs he said like this, and the women, some of the women did it. I couldn't believe it. He said based on the Ramchal, everyone wants to know what the tachlis of being in this world is for. Why are we in this world? L'shem ma anachnu po. He said, well, come to that understanding. Write it on a piece of paper, put it in your pocket, and take it out every 15 minutes and look at it. right? So I'm like, okay, this is going to be good. No one's going to do this before. And Mamish, a ton of women did it. But they had a piece of paper and they wrote on it, what's the purpose, what's the tachlis of a Jew in this world? He boiled it down. He made it very easy for us. Tachlis of why we're in this world is dvekut. It's being, the word in Hebrew dvekut is a difficult one to say in one word in English because clinging doesn't sound like anything unless you're a Trekkie, right? Klingon. But there's nothing. What's dvekut? Devik. Glue. I'm close. I'm sticking to the Ribono Shel Olam. So when it comes to Tikkun Hamidot, some of the Chaver that were in here first year on Monday, I want to repeat this very briefly. Okay, we did. I think did we just do Ayin Dalet or we also did page Ayin Hey? I think just the first page, right? Just the first page. I'm going to run through the first page. Okay, is that okay for everyone? And now we're just going to run through it, and then we're going to continue right to the next one. עניין עבודת המידות הוא רחב מאוד ועמוק מאוד ונשתדל לבאר הדברים בקצרה. This is a very broad topic, character refinement. This is a very broad topic. We're going to try to pinpoint it. את עיקר יסודות הדברים ראשית על האדם לחפש את המידה המגונה ביותר המתגלית אצלו. Find, let's just call it for what it is, find the thing you're struggling with the most. Find the thing that makes you feel most ugly. Find it. Rav Kook says Osa Tshuva. How do you do tshuva over specific sins? Take the avera and like an artist that has drawing on an easel, put it on the easel, stare it down until you're not scared to look at it anymore, but you're so disgusted that you'll do anything in the world to not see it anymore in front of you. That's what Rav Kook writes it clear in Osa Tshuva. Whatever that midah is. Yafeh. כידוע מהספרים הקדושים שזה עיקר תיקונו. That's what the Rebbe tells. This is how you really do the root work. ובעיקר לשם כך לשלח לעולם. Not just that. You want to know why you came into this world? You came into this world to find that thing that makes you feel embarrassed to look at yourself and hunt it down for dear life. That's how he says that's what's written in this story. Whatever that nekuda is. כמו שכתוב הגר"א, שאם לא עובד על המידה שלא תיקן עד הנה, למה לא חיים, like the Gaon of Vilna told us? That if you're not willing to do that work, or you're not finding that avoda, then why are you bichlal alive? And we're talking about tachlis of chaim. Okay, I'm just doing this very fast, because this we did already, but I just want to get the chaver inside the loop. And by the way, everyone in here feels equally embarrassed and disgusting right now, okay? Because everyone's looking, I could see, like, chaver, like, the guy next to me knew what I was thinking about right now, he'd be, moving a few meters away from me in the chair. No, we're all in the wrong. Bemet kulam about us. He's good. Because no one's moving. It's fine.
The chair is getting closer.
Yeah. No, he's going away from David.
I just reminisce over Yossi's comments.
Which was brought up last year. Do you know that? Mamash. Yeah. לאחר שבורא לאחר שבורא לו אדמה המידה שעליה הולך לעמול לתקנה לכוונה ולישרה. Okay, you chose one. You did a quick search. You did it. You found what it was. וכן לאחר שגמר לעבוד על מידה זו, עליו לברר פעם נוספת מה המידה שעכשיו הגרועה ביותר בעת מצבו כעת. וכן חוזר חלילה. He's like, okay, you chose something, you did the work, guess what? Now the avoda is, what's now the most disgusting thing that you could see about yourself? Not about yourself, Khalila. The midah that you struggle with the most. This keeps on going. It's repetitive.
It keeps coming back. So if you don't
we spoke about this.
Okay.
We spoke. No, it's very good what you're saying.
It gets to a point where, like, okay, you just add it to the list, and then where do I have time for anything else, right? Like, I'm continuously. One person is continuously working on his midot. Baruch Hashem, I think I was mitgaber on it, right? Great, awesome. Next, you're in the middle of that one, and oops.
Mamash this nekuda. It's very baruch shekivanta, because that's the nachash within the avodat kodesh. That's the nachash in Gan Eden. Mamash, you're in Gan Eden. Look at this. I got this. It's unbelievable. Next. Let me go. I'll tell you, I'm sugar. Are you crazy? You're still here. I thought you were done. I thought I buried you. He's saying a lot of broad things. We're going to get to tachlis. Tachlis, Ayom is more like tachlit. How do you focus on this stuff? צריך לחזור, ומידה שכבר עמל עליה, צריך לחזור אליה במשך השנים לאחר שזיכך עצמו. You gotta go back to this, even once you conquered this. Why? ואז נצטרך לעמול לתקן מידה זו ברמה גבוהה יותר. I thought I conquered it. That means, if it's still here, I gotta do that avodah deeper, better, and more practical. Like Rabbi Nachman brings down the concept of tshuva al tshuva. I did tshuva on something. Rabbi Nachman says, don't get too excited, be happy. Don't get too excited. Tshuva al tshuva. Okay? I find that the inyan of this shows up a lot with judgment, with judging people. Where you thought, I reached a place that I look at the person and I've removed those eyes of the shpot. And maybe you did for like a mincha on Shabbos afternoon, right? But the next week comes, you see, oh, he's dressed in a certain way, and your first reaction is, and then you're like, wait a second, I thought I have enaim shel chen on this person. Whatever. There's a lot of different examples. It's one that came out right now. ואז נצטרך לעמול לתקן מידה זו ברמה גבוהה יותר, דקה יותר, מדויקת יותר, אמיתית יותר. You got to do it better, more מדויק, more exact, and more real. כידוע כל זה למבקשי אמס. And anyone that's a seeker of truth knows there are no shortcuts over here. You got to keep on going back and doing this. עליו לא להתחיל מיד לעבוד בה. And this is where we spent most of the time last week, on Monday. אלא ראשית צריך לברר את מהות המידה ואת היפוכה. Before working on the midah that you find disgusting by you, what you have to do is levarer, clarify, what is the context of this midah? What is this midah all about? Not how does it mashpia on me, but what is the midah all about? What's an example we gave last time? What's one of the midot we spoke about last time? Huh? Kas. Okay, kas. So kas is a midah meguna. What's the mahut? What is the trigger of kas? What did we say?
Control.
Lack of control. Nachon. We brought another one, atzlanut. Remember, that's one we spoke about last time also. The midah of atzlanut that Mesilat Yesharim speaks so powerful about. What's the mahut of the midah of atzlanut? I think it was depression, right? You said no. That's going to be the opposite, nachon. But the mahut, first the mahut of it, right, was depression. You want to go back to kas for a second, yeah?
Wouldn't that be
Sorry, we said that also. Nachon, no, absolutely. Yeah, let's get through a lot of things in there. Nachon.
Sorry, Mr.
No. This is not to make people... Guys, listen. When we do chazara, it's not like, oh, if you were... Like I did this to you the other day. Like, oh, well, if you came earlier in shir, you'd hear the
Yeah, I was going, sure.
Right. But for you, I could...
It's stuck with me all the time.
I mean just like we're trying to just go back and build it again. Obviously, when it comes to the midah of Shmirat HaBrit, which this year we're going to speak about later in the year, not now. Let's get to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. And definitely not online. We'll be able to do it in a manner that we could really go down to the mahut of it. Now, he says it's not enough to just understand what the mahut of the midah is. Also, you have to visualize what's the hefech of the midah in order to do this work. It's not enough to just say, oh, I know what the trigger is, or I know what the content of it is. What's the hefech of it? So you said, Sash, what'd you say about Zrizut, right? So the midah of atzlanut, maybe the hefech of it would be that I don't stall. Like there's something to get done, I'm there, I do it first, I do it right away. Now, what's the hefech of the midah of kas? So, a person has to have simcha in front of him, or you could say the hefech of the midah of kas is acceptance. You could say that as well. He's going to say that different strokes, mamash, different strokes for different folk, mamash with these things, yeah. Would be the what? Of kas. Absolutely, absolutely. I was talking to a therapist recently. He says his shita these days is that when he speaks with people about the main stuff they're really struggling with, all he speaks about is the Torah of radical acceptance. Radical acceptance, he said. Radical acceptance. That doesn't mean, oh, everything goes. It means sihat mimut.
Also, you spoke of Fahrenheit in terms of shibiki.
Right.
Looking at establishing that equilibrium, that internal equilibrium.
Nachon meod. That's definitely the hefech of kas. Yeah. We could do this with every person, but the Chabura work that we're doing is to learn this up here, but each person has to write down on their piece of paper, or kasvei maluach limecha, or on the chalkboard of their heart, what their midah is. Kol adam yodea maras nafsho, and on the second, but on the other hand, adam karov la'atzmo. See, the reason why we're learning this stuff as a Chabura is because as much as we know each other best, the Gemara says, Adam karov la'atzmo, which means because I'm so close to myself, sometimes if something is so close, I can't see, I can't really see what else is right around me because I'm too close to myself. That means it's emes. וכן יש לברר את שורש מידה זו בשתי יסודות אש רוח מים באפר. I don't want to get into this right now, I spoke about it last week, like the Ramchal says, Reb Chaim Vital, וכן לברר מה תולדותיה של מידה זו, להיכן היא מסוגלת להוביל את האדם. And then we didn't really speak about this, but he says, you know what, you want to do the avoda of Tikkun Hamidot? En baya. After you figured out what that midah is that you're speaking about, v'chule, I want you, he's saying, go far with it. What? Look where it can take you to. I want you to realize, he's saying, that certain midot that you don't think are so bad can lead you to losing everything that's dear and precious to you. Everything. That's a very intense thing. It's a very deep thing. We'll elaborate on that a little bit later. I once spoke to a person who ended up leaving his wife. Well, not really leaving his wife, being left from his wife forcefully, and it was the worst thing in the world that he regretted to the high heavens what he did. What was the root of it? You wouldn't believe it. The root of it was a midah ktana that wasn't tended to. It wasn't. We fought, and I wanted love so badly, and it was a midah ktana. It was some kind of, I don't want to get into it right now, it's Indian, but sometimes the little things that are right there in front of us are the ones that can cause us the big, huge explosions. He's saying, we're here to do root work, let's look at these midot, mamash, in the small places of it, see how, and then you have to go see how far reaching and damaging they could cause us in our lives. Gimel, bentayim, Adain lo yachshov legabe atzmo klal. Now this is the funny thing. He says, as we did all this, don't think for yourself at all on how the midah relates to you. Think of a midah like you're learning about midot. You're just learning about midot, about the concepts, about the subject of the midah of so and so. Don't start plugging yourself into it yet. So what's a good example that, like when we're doing Tikkun Hamidos? What's a midah that it's so easy for us to say, oh, this is how I relate to it. But he's saying, don't do that. Just say, take a midah, any of them. Forget the ones we said right now. What else? Ma'od, boys. Which one? Mammon. Taivas mammon. I don't know a person. I know very few people that have that don't have taivas mammon. Taivas mammon. Don't put yourself in the equation. What's the ta'ava of mammon? Where is it rooted in? Maybe Rabbi Nachman has this crazy Torahs how mammon and neshama come from the same place of wacky stuff. I put that on the chalkboard. I'm looking at that. I have to look through the sheker of what that has done in the world. I also have to look at what the bracha of a tikkun of Taivas Mammon has brought into the world. Before I say how this is mashpiyat on me, I'm just looking at it as a musag, as a concept. Evantem? That's, he says, is part of this process.
I think the reason why it's so difficult is because so many different things apply to each one of us, right? To separate ourselves
Better.
from a specific. Well, yeah, that applies. So
Better.
it's kind of hard to like not.
So why do you think it's so important for him that he's saying, don't apply it yet for yourself, just look at it as a midah?
Are there any midas that don't? Like it's.
Maybe yes, maybe no, but the question I'm having, why is he telling us, put it on the board, dissect it as its own entity, and only then do the work?
Then you truly can understand it. If you only apply it through your prism, then you can change a situation in your life and it no longer applies to anything. But that's not true. Your life changes, and if you haven't worked on the actual concept as a whole and don't understand it truly, you're back to step one.
You were about to say something, and I'm going to force you to say it.
No, I was going to say that it's too overwhelming to look at the whole thing. You gotta do it piece by piece.
So you're saying, I'm just looking at this right now. Forget about how my whole life is connected to this. I don't want it to overwhelm me.
That's bad.
Me'achuz, very good. So he says, זה חלק גדול מחמת העבודה, לא למחפש מיד את עצמו. Part of the avodah of Tikkun HaMidos, don't apply it to you immediately. Don't immediately bring it to my Dal and Amot. It's very interesting. I never saw anyone talk like this. מה נוגע אליו, ומיד לרצות להתחיל לעבוד. He's saying, the taiva that we have when it comes to this kind of root work of Tikkun HaMidot is the instant, immediate need to feel like I'm on it. Like men always fall into this trap where your wife kvetches about something, and you like begin to do problem solving, and they want to throw a chair at your head. Huh? Just don't fix the problem. Acknowledge that it exists. Let's think about the inyan. Don't try to fix it already. There's this inyan we have about, I want to get this done now. It's in front of me right now, I want to get it done right now. Hala. Retzon ze, and this we didn't speak about too much in depth, this is important. Retzon ze v'tzurazo, this retzon to fix it immediately, this shape of thinking, novat mishitchiyut havanat mahut avodat tikkun hamidot. It stems from a very shallow way of understanding what character refinement is all about. Belot surah shel binyan yetziv, and you're not thinking about it in a manner that the avodah you're going to do is going to create a stable building. Now, these words, I want you to look at it again. Binyan yetziv. The sefer that we learned with the women for 3 years was called Bilvavi Mishkan Evne. The this mechaber repeated over and over and over again that learning about the Olam HaTorah through the way that he was presenting for us was slow. Oh my God, was it slow some weeks. Repetitive me'en kamo. So repetitive. And he kept on saying, I know you think I've said this 30 times in the last 3 pages, and if you look back, you'll see it's true. I have. But what we're busy here building is a mishkan that lasts. Bilvavi mishkan evne. He's saying to get good zetzes of high, other people are providing that. Other sefarim can give you like a shot of something where you're like, he's saying, but today's door, maybe, and I think about this, after the Shoah, no one could talk about Tikkun HaMidos like this. Who cared? I needed zetzes of getting high on Elokut just to stay afloat, just to stay alive. But now, I realize the high, the vorts, they're not cutting it for me. They're good, they're important. Like Reb Shlomo says, they're great cash Torahs. Cash Torah, you have some cash on you for any given second, you can pull something out. They're good for those things. Anyone today that wants to do some real avodah pnimis on themselves, avoid's not going to cut it for them. They need a mahalach that's going to build a binyan yetziv, which means a stable building. Therefore, if I am learning about Tikkun HaMidot, and I hear about it, someone says a good idea, and then I run to try to implement it, he says, it may work, it may, but that's not the way, it's not the shita that we're doing it here, and it's not going to create a binyan yetziv. I want a rock-solid building going on inside of me. I want a mahalach. As much as we are maybe rebellious in nature and don't deal so good with authority, I think probably everyone in this room struggled with that at a certain point in their life, maybe till today. In the Pnimiyus Halev, we all want it. Lelo tzal shel safek. We want a binyan. We do. We want to build. We want a binyan yetziv. ראשית צריך לברר את הדברים בצורה שאינה קשורה לעצמו כלל. I have to understand how this applies to me how this applies in a way that's not about me at all. I have to לבנות מערכה בעניין המידה ועליו לשבת ולכתוב דו בצורה מסודרת. This connects to the beginning of Shir. You want to do this work, you want to build it in a way that is, you want to write it down, Hamidah, write the Midah, Shorsha, its root, Mahuta, its content, Toldotea Hamitlavim la, all the other gesheft that it comes with, Hagormim la lifrotz ulekabel mishne tokef, which causes it to erupt. Whatever the Midah is that you chose, you wrote it down. You said, this is what it's about, this is its root, this is how it affects this place in life. This is how it affects that area in life. Also start writing about preventative actions that could probably prevent this midah. And again, it's still not you. Just in general thoughts about preventative means that would probably be implemented in a way that would avoid the hitpartsut of all this. And then you start writing down the ways of fixing it and making my life in order a little bit. So then we go back to the Shir now, and then we're going to continue Oz David. What did we say at the beginning of Shir? Remember in the barbecue the other night, I was telling the Chaver, like this year there's going to be an extra Corona was really chazak with us. And it really messed us up, and I think it's only because I feel that the koach of a chabura, it's learning about tikkun and nefesh, tikkun amidos, bepnimius, and with authenticity, and with the ratzon to daven and share over it. It has a lot of koyach. I do believe in it. Now, when we were learning years ago, I would always say stuff like this. No one's coming back to shir until they write down on a piece of paper what they just learned from the shir. No one ever wrote down a thing. Kimat velo. Mamash kimat velo. And it was, and I realized so that doesn't mean that it's not sinking in or that it's not, doing a good job. It just means that we have to figure out different ways for this to be chai v'kayim within us. He told us right now the way for these midot, the way for this avoda to really be approached in a manner that has a hashpah in my life. I can't get around it. I have to write it down. Meaning, it's got to be in front of me, because if I don't do that work, what it may possibly mean is, it was really nice hanging out with guys in the morning talking about some deep stuff from Rabbi Schwartz. So I don't know exactly what the method of today for us would be, but I have a ratzon like never before to discover one that would work for us. And I'm putting that on the floor. Like I'm putting that just out here right now. That there's no, I need help with this, you need help. I mean, we all need help in understanding how this shita of learning will be something that is kviya v'kaima inside of us. I know for myself, I think Yossi, you share the same thing. When we learn Torah that we really love, in order for it to really go into my bones, what do? Yes? What do we do with and we type it up. We transcribe it. That, for me, it's always been the case. When I hear something that I really, really want to get into my bones and I feel really connected to it, I transcribe the words that I'm listening to. For me, personally, I know that works for me. It works to a certain extent, and there's other stuff. What we've been stressing here for years, and Be'ez Hashem will get back to it, and we've put out already booklets of these stuff, making tefillahs out of the Torah that we learn. That could be a very, very positive and powerful thing that I hope we get back to. Please keep that in the front of your minds and hearts while we continue learning. Let's go weiter. Oz Daled. Okay? Oz Daled. I just don't have a watch. Good. Let's go. Keep on going. לאחר שהאדם בנה מערכה שלמה כתובה בעניין. So he says that after a person, thank you so much. He says that after a person actually sat down and wrote this up. He writes up this midah. This is it. Not me again. Remember, it's not me. It's not this midah affected this relationship and I caused it. It's a midah. It's a midah. Okay? That's why I don't think you can do any of this work without the Mesilas Yesharim, like Bemet and the Chovas Halevavos, the basic sefarim which guide us for character refinement. He's just taking it and he's talking to our door. So לאחר שהאדם בנה מערכה שלמה כתובה בעניין, והעניין נהיר וברור לו מאוד. And now, understanding the midah itself, its ramifications and consequences, where it comes from, and also what the opposite of it would look like. Okay? After you do all that work. And he says, דבר זה יכול לקחת שבועות מספר וזה לא עצלות אלא בניין. He's saying this can actually take a few weeks. And don't worry, it's not atzlanut. You're not being lazy. It just takes a long week. When it comes to building a binyan, these things take a long week. עתה יתחיל לברר לו את עצמו מה הקשר שלו למידה הזו. Okay, now put yourself in it. Now you're ready to put yourself into the whole program and into the whole process. מה מיקומה בנפש? Where is this in my nefesh? כיצד היא נראית ומתגלית אצלו? How does this midah look and how does it look like when it's revealed by me? מה גורם להתעוררותה לגביו? מה התולדות שנולדים לו במידה זו? מה מתלווים אליה? מה תוקפה? He's saying, then you could start to see this midah. Oh, I thought it only showed up when I have my issues with my wife. Ma pitom, it shows up in all other areas in life as well. It could. It doesn't necessarily have to, but it does. You know, there's a big midah. I don't know what the word for it would be, but indecisiveness. I feel like it's probably one of the strongest midot today. Midot bayatiyot, problematic midot. So you could think, I'm so indecisive about what I want to do with my life professionally. After you did this nituach of how to look at it, the way that he described to us, you'll see that is also mashpia very much on my child's self-esteem. You could actually see it. Then you want to run to the forest and start crying. Or something, I don't know what. But he's saying you'll be able to detect how things that you think have no kesher to each other are actually very, very much connected to each other. It's madhim. כמה כוח הוא חש שיש לו לעצור ולגדוע אותה בשיא התפרצותה. Now you could start to wonder and say, do I have any strength? How much strength do I really have to stop it and put a strong stop on it? Do I have that koach at all? האם הוא מרגיש נפשית שהוא באמת רוצה לתקנה? And I think this is the hardest one. He's saying, great, you did all the explanations of the midot and everything, and you could detect it's here, it's there, but, this is the question. Do you really feel? Do you really have a ratzon to fix what you see in front of you? You could be okay after doing this whole process with not going out and waging war and waging battle. You've seen the whole process. You looked at the whole thing. You know exactly you know the midah. You learned about it like you learned biology and how you learned it as a miktzah. You did all the inyan, you did all the avodas, but at the end of the day, he's saying over here, now the question is, do you have this? What's your drive to fix it? What's your ratzon to fix it? כמה נכונות פנימית הוא חש לתוקנה. Inside. איך נכונות פנימית? Determination, maybe? Willingness, you said? Yeah. It's like fierce willingness. כן. ממילא כמה כוחות הוא מוכן להשקיע בכך. So now the question is, how much do I want to work on this? כמו כן, וכן כל הנ"ל. צריך שיסדר ויערוך לעצמו בצורה מסודדת ברורה. What's the next 3 words? It's not letting us go. על גבי הכתב. קודם שיתחיל לעבוד לתוקנה. So he's saying to us, listen, boys, I know it feels so good in Elul to learn a sefer about Tikkun Hamidot. It's great. Now, I feel more frum right now than I felt in a few weeks. But that's great, but al gabe aktav, you got to write these things out. So again, that's why I brought before. I'm like, I don't know if we can do this work without actually writing this stuff down. לאחר שבירר את כל הנ"ל, and after he figured all of this out, and let's say that he came to the conclusion that I am willing to work on this because I see how much it affects my life, and I see how much its ramifications have entered and infiltrated so many different relationships in my life. Like the midah of being indecisive, for me, I see, has mashpia on so many areas in my life. It's me personally being the guinea pig here and just putting it on the table. Now, from the outside, you may look at me and say, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? Everyone's holding on to this skeleton. Everyone has their inyanim. That on the outside can look so barur v'naki. Now, maybe I've worked through it and certain mekomot have become decisive. But as a midah, I can see, after thinking about this like for a long time, how it's mashpia on absolutely kimat every relationship that I have in my life, even with my banker. Now, machpatli, how my banker, machpatli, how I feel about myself with my responsibility for the future of my children. It is mashpia. So Tikkun Hamidot, Chevra, is so far-reaching that we don't even realize how many different relationships in our lives is a mashpia aleinu. Okay. לאחר שבירר את כל הנ"ל, הוא צריך, לאחר שבירר את כל הנ"ל, הוא צריך לשבת, להתבונן ולחפש מה העצות שהוא מכיר לתיקון מידה זו. Okay, now I'm ready for the eitzos. Give me the eitzos. Now, a Breslover that learns Torah like this gets very happy. You know why he gets happy? Because he has clear eitzos from the Rebbe and from the Rebbe's Talmidim. Eitzot. There's a whole book called Likutei Eitzot. Everything's eitzot. It's like pieces of advice to go and do root work on midot. It's a wonderful thing. לבדוק אחת לאחת, check one by one, איזה מהן הוא חושב שראויה ומתאימה לו להשתמש עמה. Now this is important. Not every eitzah you receive in order to work on certain midas are shaykh to you. What works for that guy to conquer kaas may cause you to have much more kaas in your life. For this you need such tefillas, such siyat dishmaya. I remember one time, my friend and I received the same eitzah from someone, and it worked amazing for him, and it was destructive in my life. So we have that's also a very big inyan. Not everything works for everybody. Like for instance, the taiva of thinking that I need to stay in Chutz La'aretz. I could say it here because we're out. But Baruch Hashem. What may work for someone to get him to make that decision will be the exact reason why someone then decides, I'm putting down taking another huge mortgage there for whatever the reasons are. And it's an amazing thing. You heard the same eitzah from the same person. Ever happened to you guys? No? You have to think about it. It's not something that just pops up. It's a very interesting thing. It could be the same exact eitzah that completely is destructive to one person, and it's completely boneh et adam hasheni. So you have to daven over this so strong. Like I should hear Hashem. I should be able to sift through. Remember, we're not talking about halacha here. What halacha is for me, what halacha is not for me. This is etzot. This is pieces of wisdom, of advice. Rak la'achar kol ha'birurim halalu. Only after I do all this sifting through, Ra'ui, Tov, V'nachon, La'atchil, La'avod, Al Midah Zo. He's saying this, okay, now the work starts. Now you're ready to begin a little bit. Avodat ha'adam le'akir et ha'midah heitev. Ketzad hi bnuya betoch nafsho ha'pratit. Hi melechet machshava amuka. This is a very deep avodah. Daka va'adina b'miuchad. It's very thin, it's very adina. You know what adin means? I was by Rav Shalom's kever last week, and his yahrzeit Shalom brought, and his son. I was there with his two sons. We go every year. It's the fourth year now. We go together before anyone's there, and he kept on saying, Rebbe gentleness is right three rows up from here. He kept on saying Rebbe gentleness, and I don't know, it's a yahrzeit that, huh? Yeah, Rav Steinsaltz, Rav Adin Steinsaltz, yeah. Adin, gentleness. I was just thinking about this. Rav Steinsaltz and Rav Shalom are buried pretty close together. And you know who else is right next to Shalom? Yeah, Mamash. Sasha Lukotsky, the guy that's the founder of Chabad of Neve Daniel that Baruch Hashem I was close to. Yedidia lives there, he was close to him. Okay. This is a very adin, this is a very gentle work. Ha'adam alu lit'ot beze me'od me'od. And it's because something is so gentle, it's very, very easy to take a wrong turn here in this avodah of Tikkun Hamidot. It's very easy. בתחילה נראה לאדם באופן זה, אולם לאחר שמתחיל לעבוד על המידה, הדברים מתבהרים לאט לאט, והרבה פעמים פתאום רואים את הדברים באור שונה מזווית שונה. What was clear to you in the beginning when you embarked on this path of fixing your midot, when the avodah is done bimtinut, slowly, with gentle approach, things can start to look different. And you approach it differently. ולכן, אין די בבירור שנעשה לפני תחילת העבודה. It's not enough the birur that you did in the beginning. עם מידה זו, אלא לאורך כל זמן העבודה עם המידה, נצטרך לשים לב ולבדוק את הבירורים שקדמו לעבודה, ולבדוק כיצד הוא רואה את הדברים עתה בכל פרט ופרט. So he's saying, in other words, I think this is what he's saying, since we're dealing with such gentle avodah, and such things that need to have sensitivity and need to be slow, and it's root work. Yeah, if you've been to the dentist recently, you want the dentist to look at it and just get the job done. Well, you want that inside. There's a ratzon to have it just get out of there. You don't want a dentist that's not going to be looking, checking everything, taking an X-ray, taking his time, examining it very clearly, numbing the area. Everything is. You don't want a non-gentle dentist, pashut meod, okay? So this stuff, sometimes there's Novocaine that will be needed in this process. Because obviously, when I get a glimpse into how maybe, perhaps, there were certain shitot ways that I lived my life that were so destructive, I'm gonna need to put some Novocaine on it. I'm gonna have to do it slowly, le'at le'at. So this is the beginning of how he describes this avodat hamidot. And because you don't have the next page, and I'm sorry I didn't make a copy, I have to read for you the next paragraph before we leave, because this will help us leave here not looking like we're sitting shiva. Okay? חייבים הרבה סבלנות בשביל עבודת המידות. שכוייך. Right? We're looking better? He's saying you need patience for this stuff. סבלנות שתוליד בדיקה יציבה ומעמיקה של כל פרט ופרט. Patience which will birth a very thorough and concrete and deep checking in on every single detail. של היסוד והפרטים, the foundation, the details. וסבלנות לחזור ולבדוק זאת עוד פעם, בכל פעם מחדש. It doesn't sound fun like this, right? But it's not about fun necessarily, it's about shleimus hanefesh. Yishuv hadas. Going to sleep at night and not wondering, am I going anywhere? I know I'm doing a lot of good things. I've made a lot of good decisions. I'm living here in Eretz HaKodesh. Our chevra here, we're building a Beit Knesset. These are all, of course, good things. And then there's this bigger picture of, but am I really marching towards a binyan yatziv, a concrete building? Zeh mashu acher. It's two completely different things. I could fill my day with mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are kind of like vorts. in the context of this shir. A binyan yatziv, a concrete building, is another thing, bless you. A binyan yatziv is basically the question of, am I marching towards a chance? What was that sefer in English? Does anyone... No, it's something else. Does anyone blush anymore? Something else. Do I stand a chance to live a life where there's some serenity, there's some kind of minuchat nefesh, because I know I'm on the way to shleimus, on the way to shleimut. He's saying, b'chol pa'ami chadash, together, every step that you take, and you have to keep on looking back and saying, was there anything else I have to clean up? Every time I have to go forward, check, anything else I have to clean up? And he says...
How can you have minuchat nefesh if you're constantly needing to go back and not looking forward, right? So if you're okay, this is where I'm going, right? But then, like you're looking in the rearview mirror and you're saying, all right, but it's not good enough. It's not enough. Well, if it's not enough, then you can't have minuchat nefesh. So
can you? You can't?
I don't know. Can you?
But I could say something. But I want to hear what other chaver have to say about that. It's a good shaila.
I think we can look at it maybe in a more dynamic way. Meaning, there are things that we're acquiring, that we're working. Let's say we're writing every day and we're building the structure that we want to fix. Whereas we can give some zchut maybe after we did some kind of progress. And with this zchut and with this clock that we have now, we can take it and we can look again in the mirror, like you said, and feel, okay, so I need to keep going with the other structure. And then I will have cloth from this structure and take the previous structure in a more, לנסות לקחת
אבל אתה כל הזמן מסתכל מאחורה ולראות מה אני לא עשיתי בסדר.
אני גם מסתכל על מה בניתי כבר. אני מסתכל על הילדים שלי
כשאני מסתכל אחורה אני גם רואה את הטוב, exactly. כשאני מסתכל אחורה, I don't just see Harris. Now when I look back, I'm like, oh, so, yeah, there's a bunch of things that we're taking care of.
Crumbs are not positive things. Crumbs are negative things. So if you're looking back at picking up the loaf of bread, right, as opposed to the crumbs, it's a different outlook. I almost feel like the way that it potentially is structured, the way that it's said, picking up the crumbs, that's in itself a negative connotation. Looking at picking up the things that are, whatever, they're the crumbs. Right, so I need to go back and look at that as opposed to what again, which makes sense, looking back at, well, no, I had a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Right?
בטח. זה מעצים. That actually, that gives you more, it actually removes the fear of usually I don't want to look back. I know it's waiting there. But with this level of working, it's like, actually I have koyach to look back. Because I don't just see crumbs anymore. There's more than that. Kind of like Yossi, what you were saying about what we were saying on Rosh Chodesh Elul, can you take inventory of this year and look back? Okay, I'm looking back. Okay, I wanna realize, is there anything different about who I was this last year? Right? So some people will look at that and be like, oh my God, I'm never gonna look back again. Or in a non-gaivadik way, and it's a new way, and be like, the tzaddikim want me to look back, and in order to continue doing the work, they want me to notice the good stuff that I did. They don't want me to not look at. They don't want me to be like, I only see the shmutz. They want me to see that. Why? Ki acheret en li sikui. I can't do this avodat midot and look back and think that the tzaddikim just want me to notice the shmutz. Efon yelech.
I don't know if this has anything to do, just a thought that comes to my mind. It's because of when I was davening today, someone was saying Slach Lenim. So normally I was Kadosh Baruch Hu, please forgive me. And today I found myself, Kadosh Baruch Hu, please forgive me. Hashem, let me forgive myself. And I think when we could have compassion on ourselves and forgive ourselves, meaning we're asking Kadosh Baruch Hu to forgive us, and even for ourselves then you can look back. Because I have compassion on myself, I forgive myself.
Which I think compassion, you need to have a gentle approach. And that's what he was saying over here. You need gentleness with this root work. So saying Slach, please have compassion on me, That's a gentle way of understanding this avoda.
It can allow you to go into it and look back and pick up those pieces.
Or, without that, when I look back, Satan's saying, yeah, keep on looking back, bro.
That's why this last paragraph is the key, I think, to what we learned.
Yeah.
Because you might come and say, you gave me a lot of chizuk today, Rav Shlomo. This is great Torah. Thank you, Rav Schechter. I'm going to go ahead. I want to look at my meat. I'm going to go ahead and tackle it. Oh my gosh, you're right. The Yetzer can come even on that. When you're trying to go ahead and do Tikkun Hamidot, unless you come in with a lot of compassion and understand that it's very slow,
patience,
and very gradual. I'll tell you this personally, that I think the concept of celebration of these very small midot are important. I'm going to share a personal one, which is I used to have a terrible a habit of picking my toenails. Okay, I would pick my toenails. It's just a habit that I would do. When I was a kid, I'm very flexible, stretching. I would actually be able to put my toes in my mouth. This is a disgusting habit.
I just want to say, this is Bruchim Ha'Baim to the new people.
No, so this isn't even, I'm not even talking about anger. I'm not talking about lust. I'm not talking about... I'm telling you practically, I used to pick my toenails, okay? And I wasn't so mocked even about where they went. I know what it says in the Shulchan Aruch. I'm not telling Lashon Hara myself. I'm telling you MS, okay? Everyone has a right to know
and I appreciate it.
But I recognize that this is actually a very disgusting midah. Okay, I'm not proud of it. For me personally, I'm not proud of it.
When did you realize? Last year?
Within this past year, within this past year. That's right. Corona, Baruch Hashem, I had to do. And you know what? I don't like this particular midah. Okay, and this is something that I want to go focus on. And I shared it with someone. I told him, and I would check in with the guy. I'd say, listen, I know this is crazy. I don't like that I pick my toenails. I think this is a disgusting habit. I'd come back 2 weeks later. Do you still pick? No, I didn't pick them this week. Not next week. It's now been months, and for the first time, this was a week or two ago, I had to actually use a nail clipper. I'm telling you, I had not used a nail clipper maybe in my life for my toes, and I went ahead and I used because they were getting so long, and I collected them and I put them in the toilet, and I washed them with Wasser afterwards, and I went like this celebration. Yes, that's right. Victory, and I called my friend to tell him this is what happened, and I'm sharing it now with all of you, and that's right. So Rav Schechter, is that what you're talking about? For me, that's compassion. For me, that's a big victory. It's a step towards a better version of Yossi.
Tikkun HaMidos does not just mean I've uprooted the midah of Lo Sachmod. It means midot that are megunot in our eyes. It means that for me, this thing is disgusting.
Can I just comment on looking back though? On what that might mean though? When you're building a building, it doesn't mean that you look back and you're picking up the crumbs again. You do have to sometimes go back and make sure the walls are straight. You have to make sure that something didn't chip away. So with regard to the toenail issue, you don't know if an environment might change. You might find yourself camping with long toenails and without a toe clipper.
Mm-hmm.
You might find yourself in a very stressful situation that might want to trigger you to go bite your toes again.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you go back and you have to rework, but you need to keep it in check. You need to always go back a little bit and make sure those walls are straight and shift and alter. It's a fragile thing. That's what I've been doing. It's fragile. So you gotta check and measure every once in a while.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing, boys. Thank you so much, Chaverim. I really appreciate it that everyone's here. Friday morning, 9 o'clock, Achana L'Shabbos. Okay. Oh, and tomorrow night, Yaakov, Rabbi Yaakov Klein. What time is it?
8 o'clock, I think.
8 or 8. We'll check. We'll send out the thing. 8 o'clock. Chai Elu. That's tomorrow night.
Chai Elu is tonight.
Chayil thing, because when do Hasidim start something on time?
8:30.
Motzei Shabbos,
Men and
tomorrow
women,
night.
my house.